Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Woo woo. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I have my friend Jill Zarin. I think I met you in 2008. Her boyfriend, Gary. I think you guys have been together for what, 4 years?
7 years.
6 years. Bobby passed
6
years ago on January 13th. It just passed. 6 years.
But you don't want to say you were together for 6 years then.
No.
We were pretty much,
No, there's a respectable amount of time in the Jewish religion that you cannot date.
Right.
But it's not as long.
Actually, do you know what the rule is in the Jewish religion?
I do.
Well, and this is very interesting. I didn't know this until I became a widow, actually. So based on the old times, women, wives, 30 days of mourning. And then because I guess women, first of all, died much younger.
Right.
And childbirth years, that a woman would get remarried and move on.
Quickly.
30 days.
More quickly.
If it's a parent, because you only have one mother and you only have one father.
Yeah.
A year of mourning. A year of mourning. But a spouse, 30 days, and just move on to the next one. That was the old days.
Good for you.
So anyway,
You did it.
Gary was the best thing, that happened.
I never
after.
left.
And he never left.
No, that's the key to winning is just never leave.
He never left.
Show up and never leave. I don't know.
Jill, you just came off of a show. Can you tell us about it? It's called Worst Cooks in America.
Yeah.
But you're actually a good cook. How did you get this part?
I was hosting.
Oh, you hosted
the finale between the two last.
Can you tell us who was on it? Because it's aired now.
Don't remember their names, to be honest.
I remember the names.
I could look it up.
Who?
Can I look it up?
Yeah, sure. It was, oh, God, you look it up.
Well, just tell us if you know the name.
Gary doesn't remember anything.
So you were lying just then.
Okay, well, Ann Burrell and Tiffany Derry were the hosts, and I don't know who they were. Adrian Chetham and Michael Jenkins. Yep, I think that was it.
Are they actors?
If I can read this. No, they're just regular people.
Oh, well, then,
It's been on 27 years.
Of course. The show's been on 27 years.
Yeah.
27 seasons, yes. 27 seasons. It's called Worst Cooks, and it's in America.
I thought, okay, I know they did a celebrity version of
no.
Worst Cooks where like Tori Spelling was on it. So I thought you were with celebrities and you didn't remember who the celebrities were.
No, that's why I'm like, I don't remember their names. But I actually did what I was supposed to do, and then I left, so I don't know who won. I don't know who won, but it smelled good. It smelled good.
And they made us lunch. It was delicious.
Okay.
They made us lunch in the back, and this was the most unbelievable BLT I ever had in my life.
It was 3 different cheeses.
Was that what it was?
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
why
It was really good.
Let's get into what else is going on. You're also on Below Deck.
Gary likes to call.
Below Deck.
always says that.
It's the wrong time to make jokes like that.
Well,
Did you enjoy the experience? Or did it feel like work having to put the mic on? Because you've obviously been on.
Did I put a mic on?
Yes, you were mic'd. Only
Are you sure?
Only in the bedroom.
Gary, stop
No,
it.
I was mic'd in the bedroom, but you were not there.
Gary, were we mic'd?
The whole time, absolutely.
Of course you have to be mic'd. I just got the email because I'm like on the list of like, do I know anybody? Would I like to do it?
Oh, to do with Below Deck?
Yes, they're doing a new one in St. Martin, and it's.
We'll do it with you. We have someone to be a host.
I do not want to do it.
Why?
It was fun. It was fun.
I would do it if it was free, but it's
would be
it's
free.
still 50,000 or 50.
Oh, yes, our friends
it's still
paid for it.
55,000,
Yeah, no, you get someone
and then,
to pay for
and
it.
then
You
the
don't have to pay
tip.
for it.
So
And it's very
75,000.
short. I mean, it really is. It's literally 5 meals. 5 meals. That's it. And you're all gone. 5 meals.
It wasn't. This was 3 or 4 nights. So you choose 3
No,
or
it's
4
like
nights.
2 nights.
You have to be comfortable in a bathing suit, and I had absolutely no problem
Yes.
walking around.
Everyone else had a problem. Gary was fine. He loves himself
I think
very
it's,
much.
you know, that's the thing about reality TV, though. It's like, and any kind of TV, like you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, okay, I look pretty good in this, bikini. But then from the side, from the back, like all of that.
Yeah, it was rough. But we went to Granada I guess they said that now. I wouldn't say it's my favorite place I've been to in the Caribbean, to be honest. Of course, I did not experience the island, to be fair. I literally got off the island, stayed in a hotel, came to got on the boat. I can't say much about it yet because I don't want to get in trouble. But I'll say that we were hosted by our friends. We had a great time. I'm glad I did it. But it is only 5 meals. I mean, literally counted. So you arrive on the boat for lunch. And you have lunch and dinner. The next day you have 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then the last day is breakfast. You're off the boat by 11 o'clock.
You did only 2 nights.
It's 2 nights.
So
but they called 3 days, but it's 2 nights.
What they were offering was 3 or 4 nights. So it's like,
maybe Mediterranean.
minimum 50.
Yeah, it's like 50 grand plus tip. Yeah, it is.
Actually, yeah, so it's like 75,000. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
which
definitely
isn't like is
we
really
paid
is
the tip,
really
though. We
listen.
did.
It's not that bad if you bring on 3 other couples, if you really wanted to, and everyone split it up. I mean, it's not that bad. But I'm just kind of like, what? I just think I just see how people talk about.
Well, sometimes they make fun of you.
And
I've seen it. They make fun of you, and you're paying to get made fun of.
And then the fans make fun of you.
Yeah, I don't like
so
that
So I'm
part.
like, I don't know.
I know, but for us, I mean, we had a good time because I'm comfortable in front of cameras.
Yes.
And who wouldn't want to go on a 190-foot
And
yacht
was
for
the
3
food,
days?
in your opinion, amazing?
I can't say anything, but can I come back on after the show airs?
Why did you just say if your opinion was it wasn't?
Because
what
I
you
think
thought?
that's
an
probably
impossible
part
group
of
to
the show.
please.
Okay.
Well, okay.
Well,
to
that's
be
what
fair,
they want. They want an impossible group. To
this
please.
was really
And
impossible.
Jill made it worse.
No.
Okay.
First, I gave 2 pages of recommendations, but my girlfriend is vegan and
She's allergic to carbon.
allergic to like a lot of
Carbon?
Yes, she's
What?
allergic to carbon.
stuff. What are you talking about? She's
She
not
is.
allergic to carbon. I
Yes,
don't even
she
know
is.
what that means. Don't
All right.
listen
If
to
you're
Gary.
going to do weird, dumb jokes, I'm going to ask you not to be part of it.
Yeah, Gary.
Because it's too confusing to the audience.
It is, and I don't know why
Carbon's
you
an
do
element
that.
that's in everything. So it's a joke for the chemists out there. I'm sorry, but I think there are some more juicy scoopers. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm not that smart.
I
I'm a
want to
juicy
hear from
scooper,
you,
I
but
guess.
not that, because that's just like a confusing
Yeah,
thing.
you
as we do the
confused
interview.
me. Why are you saying that? Anyway, my
Okay,
girlfriend
what-
has
I must be
multiple
confused.
allergies, multiple things, and her husband's a vegan. She's a vegan, a pescatarian. The guy had everything.
Okay.
So, if he gave us water, then we could all, eat it. So
All right.
it was tough, but we had a great time.
And that is where you told me that you told them the proper Diet Coke. And ever since you've told me that, it's honestly been eye-opening, which is, as you know, Jill is a huge Diet Coke person. She does not drink alcohol. And she asked for Diet Coke, and it was always flat. And the key to a good Diet Coke is it has to already be cold in a fridge.
That's right.
And then poured over ice.
Correct.
It cannot be
Warm.
Room temperature and then poured over ice. And I just don't think enough people know that. And I
think you should educate them.
Well, I just did.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I think
Because
you
you
definitely should.
educated me.
Yeah, it's true. Have you tried it since? Have you ever paid attention where someone poured a
I
warm
just said
soda?
yes. That's
No,
exactly
it's
what I
happened
said.
to you. Okay. It
Well,
has.
ever since you said it, I said yes. Now, Jill, you are a Jewish mother, and you wrote a book.
Yes.
And I would like to just go through some housewives, and get your advice as a Jewish mother as what they should do now in their career. Now, your girl Ramona, she, got in some trouble right before,
Oh, Ramona can't help herself. I love her.
but you
I
do love her.
I do love her.
So, do you think she's done with reality TV? She's got a real boyfriend.
I think she should be done. I think for her, she's in a great place right now. She's really happy. She's got an amazing guy. And the last thing she needs is anything to go in between that. It's not about the money. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not about money. So that's my advice. I told her that.
And, they did the ultimate girls trip without you.
Yeah. Did anybody watch that? Was that I didn't hear anyone talk about it at all. And I'm not being mean. I'm not saying, this isn't like sour grapes. Please don't
I will
take
tell
it
you
that way.
exactly what I think.
Okay.
So when I first saw it, there were a couple episodes out, and I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. No. Okay. And I
wish I had a picture of that.
enjoyed it. I was like, oh, this is fun. It's beautiful to look at. It was kind of funny. And then as each week went on, I did kind of what was nice is they weren't there wasn't that much drama or anything with it. So unlike other Housewives episodes where you're like, what's going to happen next? Oh my God, it's leading up to the wedding. It's leading up to this. There wasn't
A
that,
reason to tune in again.
Like, yeah. So I do think people liked it that watched it, but I don't think it got a lot of buzz for that reason. And
Can
then
I give you my
also-
opinion?
Yes, please. All right, let's get into Traitors. It's gotten so juicy. Okay, so Parvati and Phaedra, the two traitors, decide to kill Bergie. That's right. Oh, Burgalicious, as Phaedra would say. She's a very good actress. He gets murdered, and they decide to do that because they feel Peter's really the one that's after them, definitely after Parvati. And he seems to be the leader of the faithful. So Bergie kind of seemed to be his right-hand guy, his closest friend. So they decide to murder him. So they're all at breakfast. They realize Bergie's been killed. And Trishelle starts to suspect that it's Phaedra. And she's like, I've been taking notes about this for a lot of reasons. And she starts telling people, and her reasons are good. She's like, she's never that scared at breakfast. Or she's never that surprised at breakfast, and she's never that scared for herself during the round table, which would tell you that she's a traitor. And when we question anything about her or anybody, she has this eye twitch. And Kevin is like, yeah, I've noticed the eye twitch too. So, but they're all like, I don't know, and Kate Chastain is like, I don't, that's weird. I don't think that's a good reason. So now they go out to do this mission. And this mission was real gross. They go to this cabin and they have to go through these tunnels, which would be very hard to do if you're claustrophobic. And the people that are left in the cabin while the people go through the tunnels to find the money, they torture them with like bugs and maggots on them. And a bunch of the girls are just like, I'm out. Kate Chastain quits. Phaedra quits. Sheree quits, and they're just like, we can't take it. And so they lose some money for that, which is not a great sign to the rest of the group, but they're like, I don't care. This is so gross. Meanwhile, Trishelle is with the guys. They find the money, and, CT gets a bunch of money. They come out of the tunnel with the gold, and Trishelle finds a shield. But they all decide while they're in the tunnel with Peter, don't tell who won the shield. So they don't. And now we come to the round table. And it really comes down to, is it Parvati or is it Phaedra? And they bring up her eye twitch, and Phaedra's like, what? I have never heard of anybody saying that I had an eye twitch. And they're like, you do. But there's been more reason to think that it was Parvati. Now, Parvati had met with John prior and cried and was crying and was like, I just really feel like maybe I've put up walls and now people think I'm a traitor, but I'm not. And for pretty good acting. And she's like, oh, I could be a good actress. But when it comes down to it, it was very close, and Parvati gets all the votes and they kick her out. But now it's real juicy because it's just Phaedra left. But she turns around and she goes, I was a traitor. So they're like, oh my God, great. But now Phaedra has a real target on her back because it was really between the two of them. And so, Phaedra's confidence, and they're like, Phaedra's the smartest. She's a lawyer. She's, again, not ever really nervous about anything. She always is just eating her food and never acts surprised when people walk through at breakfast. So Alan Cummings comes and is like, Phaedra, you can invite someone to join you as a traitor. And she says, okay, I'm going to have Kate Chastain because she's played the game before. She was on season 1, and they have a real friendship. Being in the Bravo world, she also has a real friendship with Sheree, and Sheree had saved her earlier in the other episodes. So now I am kind of seeing that there might be a bit of a Bravo alliance that I never really thought would matter, but it has gotten so good, and I just hope nothing happens to Phaedra because she is just TV gold. Anyway, it's on Peacock. You can only watch it there, and new episodes every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern.
I'm going to give you my opinion, and this is just my opinion. I know no facts. Okay. I don't know if I should say this or not, but I will. And I told this to Ramona. I think that the network, when they decided to do this show, it was a backup plan to whether the new cast of season 14 of The Real Housewives would make it or not. So that in case it didn't do well, they still had the oldies and the goodies to pull out of a hat and to have something, right? I think that it was a tough start for the girls to get into it.
The New
York girls, but they totally got into it. They had the full support of the network, of Bravo, of NBC. They pulled out all the stops for them. They got them all the interviews. They put them on all the talk shows. They put them on the red carpet. They forced them to succeed. Whether they should or they shouldn't, they did. And it worked. And I think people like them. I like them. And I think that the show is going to succeed, even though it had a rough start. The last thing I think the network wants to do is to go backwards. And if they put the original cast back on air and promote them and put them on the talk shows and all that stuff, it's kind of like against what they just did, which was clean house and start fresh. But they were there as a backup plan. Also, the Morocco trip ended up becoming a hole in the schedule because they didn't know what to do, so they needed to plug that hole. So I think they put the show on in mid-December, which is the worst time of year to launch a show. For anyone in the inside industry knows that everything shuts down in Hollywood as far as talk shows at the beginning of December.
Right, because they're all on holiday break.
Right, fair enough. So when you put announce a show is going to start, whatever it was, December 15th, and the girls say, well, why aren't we on Kelly Clarkson? Oh, you would have been. But Kelly's closed. You would have been, but so-and-so's closed. You would have been, but so-and-so's closed. So they have a fair answer, and they didn't really promote it. They just didn't. I mean, I didn't see it promoted anyway. I didn't see the girls why weren't they on the Today Show? Like, if they really wanted to promote the show, the easiest place to put them is on the Today Show. So I didn't see the girls promoted anywhere except doing their own. And I think that was a deliberate, my own opinion. I think it was, and I don't think it was a bad idea. I think that if you want the girls on New York to succeed, the new ones, you can't keep bringing back the old ones. It's confusing to the audience. And if you ask me, I would say under other circumstances, they would have another season of The Legacy because I think it was probably a great show. I think they won't do it if they want to continue with this new cast. I think that it would be against, like, you can't, pick your lane. That's my opinion. What do you think?
I think you're right. I think there was a chance of like, oh, maybe we'll bring back a couple of them to mix in. And I know at BravoCon, I can't remember someone said this, but they noticed it and I realized it too, that the biggest, like the biggest hype and the most people coming for meet and greets and all that was with the new New York girls. There you go. Because these fans probably have gone to previous BravoCons too. And they probably have their photos with
the new shiny object.
People.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And the girls are beautiful. And I think that they're today. I think the girls that they cast are today. Like, I remember being on the show in the beginning, like, I didn't dress well. I didn't do makeup well. I would not be cast today.
How old were you when you got cast? You were like 40.
44. Older than they are, for sure. But also, I wasn't like a fashionista, and there were no influencers back then. It was just a different day.
Right.
I don't think I would get cast today in 2023 if I was 44. It's not I don't think so. I mean, I'm glad the evolution of the show is successful because of the start of where it was and where it is now. But where it is now is I think the girls are fabulous. I think they're stylish. I think they've got their own tune. And I think it takes a minute to like get everybody into it. And I think they're into it. And I think they want to see more of them. But you can't keep bringing back the old girls and promote the new ones at the same time. I think it's confusing. And that's what I would think in this private room in Bravo. They said, we're happy that the girls are working. Let's just get this show out and be done with it.
They also,
Ultimate Girls Trip, air it and go away.
In your theory, though, they were not scheduled to go at that time. It was supposed to be Morocco first.
But not in December. I don't think so.
I don't know. But it was supposed to be Morocco first. Now, with the latest lawsuit of Caroline Manzo suing Bravo.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Most people, myself included, I unfortunately don't think we will ever see the Morocco trip.
There's no footage of this incident.
There is footage.
Then why wouldn't they just cut it out and air the rest of the show? Like, why
because
can't
now
we watch?
There's a lawsuit. Now there's a lawsuit. So
there's no damages if it doesn't air, right? What are her damages if it doesn't air?
her damages are to herself that it
I see.
happened.
Right. Okay. All right. If it happened.
My thought is Caroline does not want this to air. Any of it. Not necessarily just this part, but maybe something that she talked about earlier on during the vacation. She just doesn't want it out there. And this is kind of the easiest way to do it. To just be like, all right, here's your money. Because otherwise, then we're going to get into, you're going to be all the housewives are going to have depositions.
You think they're going to settle with her? You think they're going to give her the money?
Versus, like, I don't know what she's asking for, though.
I don't know either. But this, can I tell you something that's interesting that I found out from a lawyer that I did not know? The law changed in 2022 or 2023, where most contracts with reality stars or whatever, it says arbitration. All of them do, not most.
Right.
All of them, arbitration clause. And arbitration is private. So if I have a complaint,
we try to figure it out.
It's arbitration, and I can't talk about it because it says
right.
in my contract it's confidential. I don't know the wording, but it's a confidential arbitration.
Right.
In 2022, the law changed, and there's an exclusion that you can't waive, that doesn't waive, which is sexual assault, anything criminal. So anything criminal now cannot be hidden under arbitration. And what happens is all the evidence that comes out during a public thing can be used in other places. So the networks definitely don't want to go to trial with any of these because then all the evidence, because when you do when you have an arbitration, any evidence that comes in is all private. You can't use it anywhere else. It's all, what's the word? It's all hidden. Now you can't hide this thing. And I think that's what the networks are suffering now. All these things that were hidden. Like when they had the whole thing with the sexual things with the network executives on Fox, I forgot who it was. And all that was, over years and years, secret until it wasn't. You know what I mean? So these things have happened over the years for sure. We just don't know about it. But when it's sexual assault now they have to talk. Now it's public. And that's the power that the stars have. And look what happened on my Ultimate Girls trip. The butler is also suing the network. Because he felt... Oh,
and I just realized, and Brandi's involved in that too.
Yeah, I feel so bad. I really do feel bad for her because honestly, she was a character, like I'm a character, and they know who she is, and they cast her.
Let's talk about that. So the Dorinda
show, I was on
at
that.
Dorinda's, and you were there.
Yes, I was.
And what that guy is suing for is that you had a party outside at night.
Outside, and... and Brandi ripped on the show. It says, ripped his shirt off or tore his shirt, and we were all having a good time. The way I remember it, I had a great time. I remember him having a great time. I'm not in his body. I don't know what he felt. You know what I mean? So I can't speak for him. But from what I witnessed, producers were there. Everybody was there, and I didn't see any aftermath after. And I think, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't have the inside scoop. But I do feel bad for Brandi because I think that she was cast. They know who she is. They bring it on. The producers definitely talk to her. She doesn't do things without telling them. You've been on shows. There's a collaboration. There's usually no surprises. And also, if you're not doing something right, a producer will call you out and pull you out of a scene. Pull you out and try to break it, whatever it is. So I think she's kind of hanging out there, and it's not right. It's just not. That's how I feel as a sister wife. I feel her pain.
And what is your advice to Brandi then? What's your advice to Brandi right now? With this
That's a good
Caroline
question.
Manzo lawsuit, though she's not named in it. And
so
but
these
her
are your two
reputation,
choices.
basically,
Right.
she feels that she'll never work again. Her reputation is ruined.
There's two things: shut up or fight back.
I said
Those are
to
your two
Carlos
choices.
when we talked about it, I said, that would be the thing that would maybe you go into a program where prove that you really are giving up drinking. You've really given up for 30 days, 60 days. You're sober. That's your life. Because unlike a lot of housewives, Brandi is funny and witty, sober. She doesn't, but she does enjoy
even
her
more
cocktails.
fun, actually.
But
She's actually
does
more fun.
enjoy her cocktails. So I don't know if she's there yet. I don't know if that's something that she wants to do, if she feels the need to do. But I think that would maybe help get her on some other things. But I still think Bravo would be really gun shy. But I think Bravo is never say never. Like I still think
put her on. They put her on that
they
show.
bring her back.
They brought her back right after the Ultimate Girls trip on Traders.
Right.
So they right away put her back on TV. I don't know if any of the other stuff had come up yet, but
so what is your advice then to her?
you got to stick up for yourself.
I think she's trying to do that.
Now she is. She was quiet for a long time because I think she was hoping if she kept quiet that the network would protect her, help her. And I think she's realizing that no one's helping her and that she's out there by herself and that she's going to have to just defend herself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I know that the girls have backed her. I know that the girls on the trip who she's friends with, Gretchen and Phaedra, they've all backed her story, whatever that story is. I know because I've spoken to some. They said that they totally support Brandi and they were there and witnesses.
Meaning that
with that whole thing
it was
with
like
Caroline.
not they have a different point of view than Caroline's.
They're defending her. Yeah, that from what from what I was told. But listen, I wasn't there. I can't see it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a mess. You know what? It affects the whole franchise, and I think it affects being on reality shows. And I don't think that I think that the limits have changed, and they're going to change going forward. And it's kind of going to ruin what people love about the show.
Yeah.
You know.
What do you think about Leah? Leah from New York.
What happened with her? She's suing also?
She's suing also. Her lawsuit is under the American Disabilities Act.
What was her disability?
I think she said she's bipolar.
Is that I don't know. Is that a disability?
I mean, I guess. Illness? I don't know what's going on with it. She's another one that I think kind of realized I'm done with it and I'm not going back. She now went to OnlyFans and she said I made more on OnlyFans than I did. Yeah, she's on OnlyFans.
Are you kidding me?
No.
And she has a daughter. Oh my God.
A lot of OnlyFans people have kids.
I guess so. I'll do my feet. I would do feet. I'm going to do OnlyFans feet. I'm just teasing.
Your sister's doing it.
My sister's doing
it. Very good.
Listen, I'm not judging anybody. I think that Leah would not have done that if they had taken her back. I think she was very upset that they did not take her back. I know that she made a campaign to come back, and they didn't.
Come back and join the young group.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that if they had taken her back, there wouldn't be a lawsuit.
I wonder if they would have.
Maybe
I
not.
wonder if part of it was not necessarily about her, but being that if they brought her back for the young group, then she would be the only returning person. And would that be putting too much on her as like a star?
Well,
like,
they didn't do it for whatever reason.
Yeah, I don't really think it was about her. I think it was like, listen, you were fine. You weren't the greatest housewife. You weren't, Jill Zarin.
I think even if she was the greatest housewife, it didn't matter. They wanted a fresh start.
That's what I'm saying.
It didn't matter. She could have been the biggest and the best and the funniest. I just think that she did this because sour grapes. I don't think she would have done it if she had gotten back.
Timing. Like, I just don't think. But I don't think she fit the mold either. Like, she wasn't married. She wasn't rich. It was fun when she was, it was crazy
naked,
when she was
pool.
Wasted. Then we want them to get sober. They get sober. Then she goes on a, converting to Judaism, and people didn't find that interesting. Sorry.
Well, can we go back to the OnlyFans? What is she doing on OnlyFans? Is she just?
I think it's the normal nude and then corresponding with the people. Like that's how you make the money, I guess, is like you'll start to correspond with someone and
you
say,
seem interested in this
for $500 or whatever. For $100, I'll do this, whatever.
I have a little FOMO.
I mean, the truth is, I think she does need an income.
Absolutely. No shame in that game. She's a mom. She has to support her family.
She's kind of like, whatever. She kind of said, I feel more respected being in charge of my own thing than me running around naked, drunk.
They're gonna have a Housewives channel soon on OnlyFans, right? There's quite a few. Denise Richards has one. I don't know who else does.
What's your advice to Denise Richards, being that she went on Beverly Hills Housewives, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and arrived pretty intoxicated?
I didn't watch the episode.
Oh well, she got very intoxicated, and then she got very upset with Erica Jane.
About what?
It was so lame. It was literally like, I don't think she really had anything to talk about.
So she picked a fight.
So she picked a fight from 4 years ago when they were having a dinner party, and Erica Jane was like, who hasn't had a threesome? I've had a threesome. And then, Denise was like, my kids are here. And then
now all of a sudden she's a prude, but she's got an OnlyFans account.
No, but one of those kids
has an OnlyFans account. Yeah, that's a little bit too much.
I mean, you really think that Erica Jane is not going to bring that up? So then Erica Jane goes, Let me ask you something. Who's more profitable on OnlyFans, you or Sammy?
What'd she
She's
say?
like, you're disgusting. You're disgusting. And I'm
She
like,
didn't answer the question? I
no,
want to
she
know.
goes, you're disgusting. You're awful. And then Erica Jane's like, really? You think you're going to come at me and I'm just going to sit here? Like, who do you think you're dealing with? She came off pretty well, Erica. Yeah.
Erica's, I think from what I've seen, Erica's doing great. I mean, that's a girl who really came from all the way down and had to crawl her way back up. And she did an amazing job. She did.
Yeah.
Whether you like her or you don't like her, she did redeem herself, I think, in a lot of eyes.
Yes. And then I guess there's some, she went and met the victims and all that. And yeah, I think, look, she's not walking away with any money from being married for 20 years either.
Nothing.
I mean, but I do kind of wonder, like, where is
The money.
that $2 million
Where is it?
Chagall painting?
Oh, is there a missing painting?
I don't know if it's missing. I don't know. But like, if shit was going down with your husband
Yeah.
and there's jewelry and stuff, wouldn't you be
Yeah.
grabbing it and putting it
Absolutely.
like in your mother's safe and
Yeah,
stuff?
I would. I mean, that's the truth. Of course I would.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to you're not going to get any real estate out of it.
Yeah.
So what? And then part of that was the
But
earrings.
you got to know me. Like if this happened to me, which it never would, I would have given all my Birkin bags and everything to the victims. I mean, that's me.
Well,
So
yeah,
I can't even relate to that, but I'm saying that I could see that for sure. That mindset.
I interviewed Nadine, who's now a psychologist, but she was married to the real
I know who she
Wolf
is.
of Wall Street.
Yes.
And she said, when it happened, she was like, here's
Take everything.
everything.
Yeah, it's just a different personality.
Because, also I don't want to get in trouble and I'll make my own money and I'll move on myself.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know that she didn't do that either. I don't know.
No, we don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know.
But she still does seem to have but
I think she's grown. I think
a lot
Eric
of clothes and shoes and stuff. But that
And hair and makeup, but I think that she's
I think
grown.
but the reason the earrings, so the whole thing with these $750,000 earrings, it's a very confusing thing. But they said those were bought with money that was meant for the victims in the escrow account.
Okay.
And so they took the earrings back. But then I guess her people tried to say
They appealed, right?
they appealed, and then they were like, well, those particular victims are not coming forward and saying, like, the trust is saying that should be ours because it was taken. But the victims of that particular
Case.
crime, they're not demanding that they don't have the evidence that the earrings were taken out of their account. So therefore they're like,
They gave him back?
yeah, therefore like that's what she won.
She did win.
So she did win that because those people are not fighting it or they're not present. And so
You know
it can't
what?
just keep going to the
We all have
trust.
to face our maker one day.
Yeah.
We all have to face our maker
Heather,
one day.
may I say you have beautiful earrings on today?
Thank you. I wear these earrings like a
Where can we get those?
like a badge of honor. Like I went through war. I was horribly betrayed. I was told these earrings were $10,000,
Jill has earrings like that
and
that are.
they're not. They're $42 on Revolve.
It's-
So I got
but they
them, and I
look-
wear them
but they
because
look
I liked
great.
them
They
when I
look great.
borrowed them, and I always liked them.
They look good on you.
Listen, I talk a lot of juicy scoop. Sometimes people are like, Heather, your loose lips have sunk some ships and you were the captain. I hear you, but sometimes I just got to share it. And I know sometimes you hear something on this show and you want to get on the phone and share with your besties. Well, right now, the best deal in wireless is at Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile has wireless plans starting at $15 a month. That's unlimited talk and text plus data for $15 a month. And at Mint, families start at just 2 lines. I love this because there's no complicated or hidden fees. I have a plan with my mother-in-law and my college kids, and it all is so easy. Also, switch to Mint Mobile and get your first 3 months of premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/juicyscoop. That's mintmobile.com/juicyscoop. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/juicyscoop. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Hey, by the way, I'm going to switch subjects for a second.
Yeah.
How are those rugs doing in Palm Springs? Palm Desert?
I love the rugs. I have a rug, 2 of the rugs, one in my guest room, my casita, and then one in the room where I sometimes do the office. But there's also beds there, and they're great. And we haven't had any stains to pick up.
I know. I'm kind of disappointed. Can someone please spill some wine?
No,
Do you know
or
Gary did a
urine,
video?
It could be
I
urine,
saw
anything,
the video
anything.
of the red
Did you see
wine.
Gary spit the red wine all over and it came all up? So they are
What
totally
about egg?
stain-proof.
Would egg come out?
Okay, Gary cracked an egg on my head.
I saw that.
That's terrible, Gary.
I
How
got
could you do that?
99% positive comments.
No, you didn't.
Yeah. it was
You make up
unbelievable.
the number. That's
So-
not true.
It was so funny. She's like doing her makeup or
Yeah.
something. And then he's like, "Do you want eggs?" And she's like, "Yes, I do." And then he just cracked an egg on.
It was
and I
supposed
thought
to
that
go in
was
a bowl.
so
Thank you.
funny.
But he got it in my hair.
No, so it was
So
staged.
it was staged.
Yeah, because so
but she
Liz,
didn't know.
No, sure she did. Liz tested
absolutely
it
did not
on
know.
me first
Okay.
to
Do you
make sure
believe
it
him?
didn't hurt.
How could you believe anything that comes out of his
it's
mouth?
a TikTok trend. Parents cracking eggs in the kitchen on their children's heads.
Which people thought was horrible.
It was horrible.
So why would
Yes.
you do that to me?
Because when Liz cracked the egg on my head, it
Who
was
is Liz?
My assistant.
It was
Okay.
such a satisfying sensation for her and for myself.
You're such a
and until
mental
you
case.
do it, it's like ASMR. When you
What's
you
that?
have an egg
That's
crack,
like that sound where people go like,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was
How do
just
you
so
know what that is?
Because everyone
What?
knows what that is.
Everyone knows what that is.
Oh my
Yes.
God, where do I live?
You
in
have
the
to read up. We went to college.
Anyway,
so anyway,
so
so
forget
it was
about that. I have something else I
fantastic.
want to tell you that's
Sorry,
very
it was
cool.
fantastic.
Have you heard about? You know what artificial intelligence is, right? So there's a company called
No, I
Delphi.
don't.
No, you know what
AI.
it is. Obviously AI. So there's a company called Delphi, whatever.
Yeah.
They did an AI Jill Zarin. And I gave them my book and they scanned the whole thing in. So I can show it to you. You can talk to me. You could speak and I can speak back. Like you could be like, what's your advice for dating? And it pulls all these things that I've said over the last 20 years on the internet, written, my book. It actually gives better advice than I would now because it pulls things that I forgot I
But
said.
wait a minute. That doesn't make you nervous? You don't own it? Or they own it?
No, I own it. I own my IP.
okay.
It's
I
a
own my
terrible
IP.
idea. I talked to the AI Jill Zarin. The AI
What?
Jill Zarin does not like you.
Shut up, Gary.
I said, "What do you think of
Shut
Jill Zarin?" She went,
Get out of here.
Next question.
He's so
I had
crazy.
somebody
It's
look
very
up,
cool.
like did it and asked it a question, what I would say, just written out, not my voice. And it wasn't, it was not at my level at all. But
Mine was
what's
pretty
scary
good.
about the AI is that it does get more intelligent.
It does. It
like
learns.
even the Tesla. So Peter will put the Tesla on self-driving.
Oh, yeah.
And it improved.
Absolutely.
It totally
Right.
improved. It got smarter and smarter. It used to be a little jerky,
Yeah.
and now it's not.
Right.
So
Thank you. So do you want to hear it? Should I hear it?
Yeah, you can
do you want
ask
to
a
do it?
question.
wait, it has the voice and everything.
Yeah, it has the
let's
voice.
see it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you asked me a question. All right, I'm going to put
Okay.
it on. Hold on, wait, I got to get it on. Sign in with Google.
I'll do a real easy one.
Connecting.
Okay.
Allow.
Jill, what is a great gift for my mother-in-law?
It's thinking.
Finding the perfect gift for your mother-in-law can be quite the task, but it's all about thoughtfulness. A beautiful scented device like Pura, which diffuses lovely fragrances throughout the home, could create a serene environment she'll adore. It's both practical
Little British.
and indulgent. And with the right scent, it can make her think of you fondly every time she uses
It's not really a good one.
It's not that great. And also,
That
hey,
one's not my
dummy,
best.
what about Jill and Allie candles?
Yeah, dummy.
Wow.
and the love behind
Jill and Allie have their own line of
Seriously, yeah.
candles.
Yeah, you dummy. I got to talk. You know what? You're right. I got to talk
Doesn't
to
like
her.
you
Rugs,
either. You don't like
candles.
her either.
She had a little bit of a British twang, but it will get
It's
smarter.
it's a little fast and sharp,
A little
but it's
sharp.
pretty good.
But it's pretty. I mean, it's in its infancy. But imagine that.
Yeah, how
like
much
when
does that
I'm
cost?
gone. Well, nothing. I mean, they're doing it for celebrities and whatever. They want to load it, and then they want to. I don't know how they want to. I think they want to eventually monetize it by saying, well, people, if they can't get to you, they can ask your AI, and for $5, you can ask Jill anything. And honestly. Right? And honestly, the answer is probably better than I would say live because it gives me things that I forgot that I've said years ago, which is kind of weird. But I think of it as when I have, when I'm gone off this planet, my great-great-grandchildren will be able to ask me questions and it'll be a lot smarter and it'll be really my voice.
And they'll say, "Why did she
Well,
have a
my
British
my
accent?"
ideas.
grandchildren can just listen to the 1,000 episodes of Juicy Scoop,
Actually,
and they
I think
can
it's like-
also
I think
watch
it's
you
like
on
700
TV.
They could subscribe.
Why wouldn't they just be watching you the 1,000 hours of you've been on Real Housewives and other shows? Why do they
That's
have
true.
to go ask this dumb little thing?
That's actually not a bad point. But by the way, I listen to you on I'm in the kitchen and I'll go, hey, Alexa, play Juicy Scoop with Heather McDonald and latest episode. And then it'll say, latest episode, season 1, episode 794. I'm like, I think we need a season 2.
Yeah, well, I've never taken a break, so I never made
I know.
seasons.
Isn't that crazy, though? I can tell you how many episodes exactly on Alexa.
I love it. Okay, let's move on to other advice. What are you watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? You're not. Really.
I'm not. I really need to watch it.
Okay. What about, what's going on with Real Housewives of Salt Lake City?
It was the best episode of television on reality TV that I have ever witnessed in my life.
When Heather
I woke
served
up at 4 in the morning. I woke up to go to the bathroom. I see my phone blowing up about this episode. I literally turned the TV on at 4 in the morning to watch it. I called everybody to turn that show on to watch it. Not at 4 in the morning, but like when I got up.
The Heather Gay performance.
Oh my God. She was unbelievable. And how she's just so quick. You know, Heather's gotten better.
Yeah.
Well, we all get better, right? But she's gotten
she's
so good.
grown. I mean, we're friends, and she's, this has been a huge growth for her. Not only has she, become famous, written a book, been on TV, but now she's, further from her divorce. She's left the church, and she's a different housewife than she was
when she started
season 1 or 2, when she was, not as comfortable. Now she's better looking. I mean, she's got more businesses going.
Do you think she's still grounded? Like I always said I think for myself, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think I've always still been grounded. Like I'm still me. Well, season 1, I mean, I'm still the same person. Has she changed?
I don't know. I mean, I ran into her. We've talked a little bit. I really like her, and I think so. What she should change. Like you become that famous, and you have this amazing moment on TV that's like iconic forever. Yeah, you shouldn't be expected to be the exact same person. Hopefully, you'll always be gracious and nice. I've never heard that she's rude to people at restaurants or anything. So like
some of the housewives I know.
I think she's still a really nice, caring person.
I think
but
she was
let
great.
her enjoy it. Like let her enjoy that she had this amazing
moment
situation. Yeah. And if she planned it out a little bit, fine. She was still passionate in what she was saying.
Oh my God, it was so well spoken and well thought. It was just receipt. But you know what I have to give credit to? Really give credit to is the production company. Because what people don't pay attention to, and I did, was the production value. They stepped up. This production company was the one who did New York, stepped up their game so like 25 times from when I remember working with them. Even Ultimate Girls Trip that I was on 2 years ago, not even close to what Salt Lake City had. They had the music. When she went like this, it was boom with the microphone, boom with the microphone. If you didn't have all those sound effects, it would not have been as impactful.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch and pay attention to what I just said, when you hear all the sound effects of everything.
No, it's chills.
And take it out.
Chills.
Right. No, and take it out. It's like, okay. So I think that they did the best. They should get an Emmy for the editing of that
definitely.
episode. That I think the production company should. I do.
Speaking of Morocco, you did go to Morocco, right? On a Real Housewives.
I went to Morocco season 4. I had the best time.
Did you love it? Have you ever been back since?
I have not been back since. I would go back. We were invited to a wedding there a couple of years ago.
Well, was Morocco the one where you went to the psychic?
Oh,
and
yes.
the psychic said,
oh, yes,
to Ramona, what did the psychic say?
That she's not going to be in this marriage anymore, that this marriage is over. She said exactly that your man is thinking of another woman. And Ramona said, thought quick. I have to give her credit. She thought quick on her feet. And she says, of course, he's talking about our daughter. The psychics that Mario's thinking of our daughter. And of course, we're all laughing going, no, Mario's not thinking of your daughter. Mario, and at the time, Mario was with another woman. Now we know that.
But at that time, were you at all suspicious? Or do you just think this is just like a dumb psychic? Who cares?
No, I was totally suspicious. Not that he had another woman, but that their marriage was in trouble.
Just as someone who observed
yes,
that it was off.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that was part of the reason why Ramona was so angry and mean. Because she was very unhappy. And I think the reason why she and I are in such a good place now is because she's happy.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend's like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
unbelievable.
great.
He's a great guy.
Looking,
and she's a great girl now. Like
nice,
she's not, and she'll tell you she's
everything.
changed. She's evolved. We all evolve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I remember I read her book, The Ramona Roller Coaster, whatever it is.
I'm scared
the
to
Ramona
know
Coaster.
what she wrote about me.
I don't really remember stuff. I just remember the part I found interesting was about the husband and how, how she, I mean, who knows? I kind of wonder, would they have broken up had she not been on the show? And he liked the show and everything, but then there was times that they would spend this time apart.
This is what I do know. I know that Mario suffered from depression. And sought counsel or whatever, therapy or whatever he did. I think that was part of the problem for him. I do think that, and I said this, by the way, and you can look it up in a magazine. I said 2 years ago that Kyle and Mauricio, I said if they continue to stay on the show, I'm worried about their marriage. And I got so much heat for saying that. And of course, I apologized to Kyle saying, I'm not wishing you. I'm not saying he is. I'm just telling you from my experience with Bobby, after 4 seasons, I felt the pressure on the marriage.
It's not good.
They were on the show 13 years.
Now, tell me how you felt the pressure with Bobby. Because
my life was all consuming about talking about Housewives 24 hours a day, including talking to you, talking to the girls, talking to my mother, my sister, anybody would listen, talking about what happened yesterday, what's happening today, what's going to happen tomorrow, are we going to be asked back? Whatever it was, we were talking about Housewives instead of talking about what are we doing for dinner? What trip are we going to do? Who can we help? Just anything other than Housewives.
It consumes you.
It does. It consumes.
And so when did he ever say anything? Did he ever sit you down, or were you fighting, or what was going on?
It wasn't on Bobby. I saw it. I just saw it. I just saw that he was losing his patience more. Bobby never lost his patience. I felt that he was losing his patience a little, his tolerance for it a little bit. I did. I saw the crack,
Suzanne
and that's
Miller
when I knew I had to
the
get
show
off.
was very bad for you.
It was very bad for me.
One of her best
because you know me, and it took me a while to get
I knew you
unwrapped.
as a housewife first.
That's true, but now you know me not.
Well, and that's why in the last few years, when there's been possibility, would you come back? Would Gary be part of it? And you wanted it, and I was like,
no.
I'd rather see her on the
Hold
Miller
on.
Report
You
or on
and my
Jersey Scoop.
parents and my sister, everybody said
She wanted
that I
it.
wanted to
Jill,
come back.
She
That's
couldn't
not
resist.
true.
She
Jill,
couldn't resist.
Go ahead.
I know you went back and forth, but I remember being at the BravoCon.
Correct.
We went to got some food at something.
Okay.
And there was some head of the Bravo lady.
Yes.
And you're like, wouldn't you like to see a wedding? With
I don't
Gary
remember that
and
at
I.
all.
Well,
I don't
you don't
remember
always
that.
remember everything.
I know you do, but I
Jill
don't remember
knew
that at all.
it
You were
was bad
dropping,
for her.
just dropping a thing.
No, she knew it was-
if I was to come back
You
on
know
the
what?
show, we might
could
get
you know what?
married.
I might have
and
said
that would
something
be
like
exciting.
that because nobody likes to be rejected, right?
Yeah.
So I guess there was a part of me that wanted them to want me to come back because I felt rejected. So
Right.
yes, but I do know that I said I wouldn't come back.
And she
I
did
stuck
say
to
no.
it.
Told
and
them
I
at
said
Girls
no.
Trip. You said
I
no.
said no to coming back as a full time.
Yeah.
And you could say, well, if they paid you the money would you have? Probably. Knowing it's bad for me, I still would have done it.
But there was times when we would have conversations, and I was like, I just do
And I
not
told you I would
do it.
And I
good
know,
advice.
and I told you, Gary. How many
she's
times
giving
did
you
I
good
tell
advice.
you?
She knows
No,
everything
How many
about
times
this.
did I tell you I won't go back on that show?
I
Correct.
know, but there were times that you were
Sure, there
considering
were,
it.
of course, there were times over the last 10 years I
Right,
considered
and
it.
I
but in the
never
last 3
thought
years,
it was a good idea.
in the last 3 years, it was definitely there's no way I could ever go
You
back. on
wanted
the show.
to be asked.
I wanted to be asked so I could say no. Sure,
Yeah.
I did. I wanted to be
but
asked,
I'm glad you weren't asked, because I think
but
if
I
you
was
were,
asked, and I said no.
Well, you were asked for which thing?
Ultimate.
I was asked to come
Oh,
back
for Ultimate Girls
no,
Trip.
not the
No, no,
Ultimate
no.
Girls Trip. They wanted to do a legacy show. Do you remember that?
Oh, that's right.
And I turned it down.
Wait, remind me
and
of
then
that.
I got accused. Okay, so they asked me to come back to do Legacy, and it
So
wasn't
they were going to
Favored
have
Nations.
two New York casts
Correct.
at the same time going.
Filming for 3 months, starting in February, a year ago, maybe.
Okay.
2 years ago. And I said it had to be Favored Nations. They offered me very little money. And I said I wouldn't even consider it if it wasn't the same money for everyone. And they said no. So I said no. And then somebody, and it wasn't me, put out a rumor that I was asking for $1 million an episode, which is actually ridiculous, right? I
Right.
mean, seriously, do you think I asked for that? I mean, it's stupid. But they put that out there. They did. because they wanted to like turn it on me. You know, like they wanted to
Right, like
make
a
me
fake-
look bad.
Right.
Like a fake news thing.
Yeah, they
really.
did a fake
Yeah.
news thing,
No,
and you know what? They did make me
no,
look bad
but-
because everybody was mad at me for not
No,
coming
there
back,
was a
and I'm
kernel
greedy.
of truth.
Yes,
The
like you
cur-
ruined it for us.
Right.
Exactly. They put that out there, and I kept my mouth shut.
Like
And I
you
kept
think
my
you're
mouth
Jennifer
shut.
Aniston in
Exactly.
Friends.
But there was
They
a
did
kernel
that.
of truth because
What?
Friends did have a favored nations clause.
Yes.
And Jill wanted that type of clause, but not at $1 million.
That's
it was
correct.
like $978,000 an episode.
Yeah,
It
because it's
wasn't $1
very
million.
close. Anyway,
Yeah,
my
very
point
close.
was everybody else agreed, including Andy, who said that it was not a nice amount of money that they offered me and that I should sit tight.
Okay.
And I did sit tight. And then I realized I just can't go back on the show. And I turned it down flat. And I said I wouldn't go back. There was a point in there where I said, you know, it shouldn't even be like this. It should be an ultimate girls trip. It should be a week because we all live in different places. We're in different lives. How can you film 4 months? Just pick us up 15 years later. It doesn't even make sense. And so they took my advice, but then they wanted to punish me by not inviting me back on Ultimate Girls Trip. I wouldn't have done it anyway.
So they didn't.
But they did not invite me back on Ultimate Girls Trip
Oh,
because that
I
way they
thought-
could say, well, we didn't, you know, we fired her again. We didn't invite her back again. They
I
couldn't
thought
stand
they
that I said
did
no.
invite you to Ultimate Girls Trip too, but that wasn't going to be favored nations either.
No, that was Favored Nations, and that was a lot of money.
I
A
remem-
lot of money.
I heard 250.
Yes, around there.
So
Yeah.
I remember it differently. I'm not joking around,
My
but I
goodness,
remember.
Gary.
if-
Okay, go
all
ahead.
If you
right.
don't mind- okay.
All right.
So someone from Bravo was speaking very honestly with Jill, and what he said is that there are only so many tools in the toolkit when it comes to putting together a cast of New York Housewives. And because Jill was outspoken about something that's true, that's very that someone didn't appreciate, they had to choose, like a group that stay quiet and are friends,
remember
or
that at
her,
all. I don't know what he's
or
talking
her.
about.
Yes, that's
I have
what
no
happened.
idea what you're talking about. I
Well,
really
we
don't.
were coming back from Fire Island, and in the car they talked, and he was kind of apologizing, saying, "Listen, I can't do a whole cast of people who are all friendly and you spoke out about that issue with that person."
I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
So maybe it's confusing what I'm saying, but
very confusing.
all right. I
The
shouldn't do
point
that.
is, they did invite me back to the party. I turned it down. Then they didn't invite me back to the second party, and I wouldn't have gone anyway. And what's happened is, and some people know, some people don't, but I have a couple of television shows coming right now. So
what can
had
you
I
share
done,
about
right?
that?
So if I had done that legacy show, it actually would have ruined everything that I have right now because I would have been locked into this. You can't do anything without a permission until the show airs, which would have been like now. I mean, I did a show called The Goat on Amazon. It's airing May 19th. And that's going to be a very big show for Amazon. They're putting a lot of guns behind it, a lot of money behind it, promoting it and everything else. And then I have another show on a big network. That's all I can say, a major network that they're casting right now for. It's going to be like
failure
to launch, sort of. And we'll be helping. It's Julia Hart and I, and we'll be helping someone, a boy or a girl, a man or a woman, every week on the show. So we start that in March. And then I have 2 others that I can't talk about yet, but they're greenlit and they're happening.
See, I always do think things always work out the way they're supposed to work
They
out.
do, Heather.
Yeah, they did.
They
do.
always do, and it's true. It's like
Had I
whether,
said yes, I would not have all this.
like jobs, getting fired, something not being picked up, losing out on like a real estate thing. I always feel like it's always the way it's supposed to be.
This
It
will be
is.
much more positive what she's doing.
And
now.
everything, right? And everything I do
And you'll
deliberately is a
you'll be more in
positive.
control. There's no control.
Right, Housewives is no control. These are shows that I'm executive producer on. I mean, these are all things that I've come up with or come up with someone else, and we pitched and got picked up. And but it's not even about being in control. It's about the messaging on everything I'm doing is positive messaging for women. Period. The end. And I think it's because I was so damaged from Housewives and how it really had a negative image of women. The misogyny that goes on at the network level, at the production level, just total misogyny. And I think, looking back historically, it is very much not for women, pitting women against women, like in a ring, like in a
Gladiator?
like
Well, I don't-
Gladiators. The reunion, it's like Gladiators.
It didn't start like that.
No.
But that's what I think from the moment that like Tamara threw the wine,
Oh, there's so many
Do you
moments,
think
right?
people
Then-
want that? People ask for it.
then
Some
they
do.
realized that's what's getting the buzz. But I loved like the first season of OC,
Right.
when you just saw their houses, and there was some sad shit that happened in those. I was just fascinated because it reminded me of like the PBS show that was like an American Family that I never even knew existed. That was the first like reality show. They found this family.
That's right.
In Santa Barbara, and they followed them, and there was a young man that he came out and he was gay, like with a son, which nobody saw that on TV, and it was all real. And I think the dad was having an affair, and it was like, I remember my mom like talking about it.
Yeah,
it was like
I mean,
so
it
juicy.
doesn't-
Like
listen,
when
it
it could just be
doesn't
like
have to be-
following
Really?
a family.
I love the Osbournes. I thought that
listen,
was...
Bethenny
Yeah.
has her, this.
Let's talk about Bethenny.
Right, you could talk about Bethenny all day and about what she's doing.
How you reconnected and did the show. You were in okay terms when she contacted you to come on her show.
Yeah, listen, my memory's so bad I can't hold a grudge because I can't remember. And that's the truth. I let things go. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I'm wrong to do it. I let things go. I don't want to remember. I don't live in the
I'm
past.
the opposite of you.
I know, because you have a better memory, so you can
Yeah.
hold on
You
to
have a
it.
great
If you don't
memory,
remember,
yeah.
how can you hold on to it?
Right.
So if I go back and rewatch and whatever, but I try to live in the moment. I think that Bethenny has changed a lot. I do. I think she's evolved as a mother. I think being a mother has really changed. And I think that she's letting everybody know by her messaging to Bravo that what she thought was okay 10 years ago, she doesn't think is okay today. And she's willing to say it. And
She's also with a great guy. Her boyfriend is like a really
right, so
good
she has
guy.
a security, right? So she has security in her life that she's in a really good place that way, that she's nothing to lose. She's never going back on television, or at least on that network. And so what was my point about Bethenny?
Well, do you feel though in her leaving that she does want to not just burn the bridge, but the whole city down?
Yeah, I
Because
don't
it
think the
seems a
intent-
little like
okay,
that.
I don't know if it's the intent. I think it could happen. I don't think the intent was to burn the bridges down. I think the intent is that she was angry and see things. It's like when she and I had the conversation about the funeral, and I don't want to beat a dead horse about this whole thing going back and forth a million times, but when the glasses came off and she saw something she didn't see and I didn't see, and we both saw something at the same time, which was she was put in harm's way, not just me. She was put in harm's way.
And in a nutshell, it was that at at
okay.
Bobby's funeral.
Yes.
People make that mistake.
At Bobby's, well, just because it was a death, I was
Yeah.
like, at Bobby's funeral, she had, she was
Showed up.
going.
She showed up.
was going, and
Let me say.
so you didn't know she was coming.
No,
or
so she okay. So basically, what happened was she in production decided that she was going to come to the funeral.
Okay.
She was led to believe that I knew she was coming.
Okay.
She had a mic on, and she looked like literally, and she says it herself, like Marilyn, like a movie star. She did with
Yeah.
the hat and the black and whatever. And I remember when I saw her, I'm like, boy, is she getting dressed up for a funeral? I mean, I go to a funeral, I don't put makeup on, and I didn't, and I look. Because I'm sad, like it's the last thing
Yeah.
I'm thinking about is what I'm wearing on the outside, right? It's all about what's on the inside. So I see her, and my first reaction was I was so happy that she came.
Right.
Like I thought, oh my God. So when Darren came over to me and said, Bethenny wants to talk to you, I was like, I look at my sister and I was with my little posse, Allie, and I'm like, okay. And so we all walked over. It wasn't just me. We all walked over. But then I stepped out of the pack, and I had this conversation with her. I did not see, I saw cameras, but I didn't see Bravo cameras. I didn't have a mic on. Nobody told me they were going to be there. And forgetting about the fact that the network has continued to lie and say that they have receipts, that I gave permission, they have shown 0 receipts, and they have not shown any release from me. They say they have emails. Let's see the emails. They say they have, but it doesn't
So
even matter
was
about
she
emails.
mic'd then?
She was mic'd, but
So
this is
that's
where
what-
she's in
that's-
harm's
they,
way.
They picked you up from her mic.
That is correct.
Okay.
So this is the harm's way so forgetting about my harm's way, she went red against the network. I saw it in her face when we were talking, when she recognized that she was lied to by the network and told I knew she was coming. And that because I didn't know, I could have walked out, seen her, and screamed at her to get out. And embarrassed her, humiliate her, whatever you want to call it. And that's when she freaked out. And she said, oh my God, they've always had my back. They've always put me, I'm sure I'm saying this myself in her head that she's always been protected. Well, she wasn't protected. She was just put out to slaughter because I could have slaughtered her. Had I known she was mic'd, I would have. If someone said to me, she brought cameras, I would have said, get the fuck out of here. But I didn't know she had cameras. I thought it was authentic.
Well, okay, so when Patty called me, Patty Stanger, to tell me that Bobby had passed, and she's like, this is the funeral, whatever, this is when it is, and I said, well, there's no way I can go because whatever, something with the kids or work, I don't know, but I knew I couldn't go, and she said, I really think Bethenny should go. I really think it would be good if Bethenny went. Do you have her number? Do you have a way to contact Bethenny? And I said, no, I haven't been in contact with Bethenny for years. But I did say, I think Bethany's in a hard position because when people are weird about funerals, it's like you can't win.
Can't
if
win.
you
Don't show up, you're a
you
bad
look like
person.
you don't care.
Right.
If you show up, Bethany the
Wants
star
attention, right.
made it about herself.
There was no win for her.
It's a really hard. So I was like, hey, whatever, she's going to know about it. And I'm like, I would definitely invite her. I said, but I don't think there should be any extra hurt if she chooses not to go because of those reasons.
Patty and Darren were definitely talking to Bravo about doing something for Bobby on the show. No question. And I don't deny it. And there are emails that say that. I wasn't involved in any of the emails. This is post. I wasn't on any email. This is all between Darren, who's, my best friend who only wants the best for me, and Patty.
Right.
And whoever at the network. The original thing they talked about was covering the funeral, and that was nixed immediately. There's no way any cameras are coming to Bobby's funeral. That
inside
was from me.
The temple.
Well, inside, outside. Because
Yeah.
to me, there is no outside, right? You get into your car, you go. I mean,
Right. But the actual.
yeah. No, absolutely not. And everyone knew that. What I did consider and was happy to do was to host the girls at my house after the real Shiva was over and have cameras come and have them come pay their respects, relive some memories, have the camera go back in time and replay some fun things. And that's what I wanted. But you know what happened? The girls found out that Bethenny brought cameras to the funeral. I found this out, by the way, later. This was much later. But this is what happened. They were going to do it on Friday, and then and the funeral was Monday. On Tuesday or Wednesday, and I don't remember, one by one, each girl said they couldn't do Friday. Dorinda said she couldn't do it. Ramona said she couldn't do it. Luann said she couldn't do it. Sonia said she couldn't do it. And what I found out is the reason why they said they wouldn't do it is because they found out Bethenny had cameras there, chose not to tell them. All the girls were at the funeral without cameras. Ramona came. Dorinda came. Sonia came. Luann came. None of them told Bravo or asked Bravo to cover them to make them look good at the funeral. But they did resent the fact that Bethenny, who hasn't spoken to me in 10 years and had no relationship with me, brought cameras and didn't include them. So they were angry at me. They thought I had something to do with the fact that Bethenny came and got airtime, like being the hero, and that they didn't. So they all canceled on me. But I didn't know at the time why. I just knew one by one they wouldn't film. And that was it. Bobby wasn't going to be on. And then I don't really remember. It was so long ago. We're talking about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly when I found out they filmed it, but I do remember seeing that commercial for the first time. I saw a commercial with me and Bethenny outside the funeral and the hug, and I almost died. And I didn't know what to do. Do I sue the network? Do I call them? Do I write a letter? Do I tell them? What do I do? And at that time in my life, I thought there might be a chance I wanted to go back. That was definitely a time where I thought, would my life be better and get busy being back on TV?
Right.
And I had talked to Luann about it. So I'm like, well, if I do anything, if I say anything, there's no chance of me ever coming back. So what did I do? I said nothing. And I ate it, and I ate it, and I ate it. And I ate it until one day, and I don't remember what it was, they were poking the bear at me.
Yeah, the story came up somehow.
They started poking the bear, saying that I invited them, I knew they were coming, and that was a lie. And eventually I finally just had to say, okay, guys, enough. Enough poking the bear. So that's it.
So when you did the show with Bethenny,
yes,
where are you guys now?
We're in a great place. I spoke to her 2 days ago. She called me just to check in. And it is what it is. I know what's going on in her life, not on a daily basis, on a, what's going on globally. She knows what's going on in my life globally. And I truly think that she's happy for me. She's proud of me. And, the way, not that I need her what's the word?
Approval
about anything. But sure, it makes me feel good when she says, I see what you're doing. Because when I spoke to her the other day, I was in World Market in Vegas selling my rugs and selling my candles. And she was like, I'm so proud of you. You're doing such a great job. I see how hard you're working. And that made me feel good. I'm not going to lie. It did.
Good.
Made me feel good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice to be at peace with somebody. And sometimes when you're so close with someone, like talk on the phone every day like you were, you know, that can't maybe sustain 40 years. But you can sometimes come back to that person and be in a pleasant place.
I think
You know?
she's changed, and I think I've changed. And not in a good or bad way, but just different. And I think that, and I'm glad, I'm happy for Bethenny, the way she's opened up her eyes and her life and her heart. I think having a daughter, I think she came from, and she'll say this herself, very damaged childhood. She's the first one to say how horrible her childhood was. I think her daughter humanized her a lot, softened her up a lot. And, you know, her relationship with her daughter is not perfect. No one's relationship is perfect. And I think that that's where she sees that not all friendships are perfect and that you have to forgive people, you have to move on and things like that. So
I think that's great. Okay, before we close, I just thought this was kind of a fun article. So this bride and her husband have gone viral on TikTok sharing their list of controversial wedding rules and decisions.
I'm going to hear
boy.
this. Here we
These
go.
rules include no bridal party entrances.
What does that mean?
You know, when they're like, give it up for the best man and the matron of honor, and then they come in and they dance.
I've
and
never
then
even
the
seen
next
that.
group dances. And
I agree.
cutting the cake in private.
Wait, they want to or they don't want to?
They do want to cut the cake in private.
I agree.
Wow.
A no
Why
phones.
stop a party for that? Really, it's just a photo op. I
no,
agree.
they'll probably bring they'll
I
cover
agree.
them with
Do it in the other room. Cut the cake.
tent.
Take your picture and move on. Everyone's dancing, right? And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, everybody stop dancing. Sit down and we're going to cut the cake.
Well, the last wedding I went to, which was a fabulous wedding at the Wynn Beyond.
Wow.
The cake was over there.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to go over and see it,
Well, that's what they're saying. They're
Yes.
not going to do a cut the cake ceremony.
they didn't do it. They didn't do a cut the cake.
Right. No, the
Yeah,
cake is
I
going to
agree.
be. I'm not saying the cake's not there. The cake's going to be in the
Did
room.
you get to eat the cake?
They don't want
Yeah.
us.
Oh, good.
Do you know how sometimes they get all mushy and they're kissing and they're throwing each other? It's
I hate
annoying.
the cake in someone's face. That's the
Yeah.
worst.
So I agree. Next.
That's like
This
the
absolutely agree with a no phones rule during the ceremony.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you why. The light is very distracting because I just went to Adele the other night. I thought everyone's camera's up. Some people left their light on. They don't even realize it.
Yeah.
So Adele's seeing that light. So imagine the bride and the groom and the rabbi are seeing these lights at them, number
Yeah.
one. Number two, there was a girl in front of me holding her camera. She was very distracting because she's got like a TV monitor in front of her.
Right.
And I'm trying to watch the wedding, and yet I'm looking at her camera phone and this camera phone and that camera phone.
Right.
It's not a terrible thing. But what I went to a wedding where I found it obnoxious the way they did it. Like I would just say to my friends,
Wait, didn't you film Teresa coming down the aisle, and wasn't that the footage?
It was a photograph.
That was a famous. Yeah,
No, it was a photograph. It was a photo,
yeah.
absolutely, and it was
Oh,
a
yeah.
famous
That was
picture around
picked
the
up
world.
by everyone.
But I didn't video the whole wedding. I took
Yeah.
a photograph. No, this is what I was just going to say. The exception is, I think that walking down the aisle, everybody could take their photos. Walking down the aisle because that's the moment.
Right.
But then for the ceremony, no phones. Like pay attention to the moment. I do think that it's okay to film the bride coming down the aisle. I absolutely do.
And then I think when they kiss and then leave. I agree with
Okay.
that. Okay.
All right. So but the middle, and I don't know if you can execute, but that would be
No,
the
I
dream.
agree.
I'm in on that.
Revoking wedding invitations for those who don't RSVP on time.
I think that's brutal. I mean, I just think there's some people in your life who are just not good at RSVPing or writing thank you notes or calling, and they're just not good at that. Doesn't mean they're bad people. You
Right.
don't take their, what you have to do is have them call. Somebody has to call them on the phone. Like what an 80-year-old may not even have gotten in. What are you going to revoke her invitation?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, pick up the phone, ask them if they're coming, and don't stand on ceremony. The end.
Yes.
You just reminded me I have to send a wedding gift I forgot to give last week. Please, thank you.
Kicking out wedding crashers. How?
Who are you that you have wedding crashers? Who are you? We got to
Do
skip
you know what
that.
a wedding pressure is?
Somebody who comes who doesn't belong?
Yeah.
Yeah, they get dressed up and they go around town and look for good parties.
at my wedding, we said no kids except for Peter's, like the immediate nieces and nephews of Peter and the immediate nieces and nephew of me.
Totally
okay?
agree.
No other kids.
I agree.
And I invited this girl who was a friend of my sister's and her husband, whatever. And they came to the wedding with their kids, the church. But then they were like, well, you know.
Can we bring them to the
No,
party?
they were like, well, we're not going to the reception. That's fine. We just wanted to see you get married. Like they were being nice, but they were acting like one of those couples that God forbid they ever have a sitter, whatever. And then at that point, I was like, oh, just come.
Well, how old were the kids?
I mean, they were like, little.
How many?
Like crying
4.
babies? Like, were
Not
they going to make a
baby, but
noise?
maybe like 4 and 3.
Were there like 6
and
of
there
them?
were other kids there. They were like our other nieces and nephews. And I just kind of was like, I'm
nice.
literally standing in front of the church.
That's nice. That's
and
nice.
the country club is 5 seconds away. And I'm like, oh, just come. Like, who gives a shit?
That was nice of you.
It's not like they ruined
You know,
it.
when you have a no kids rule,
But then,
it's really not
But then we felt really bad because then there was like
Other people.
another group
Right.
of people
That you said
that
no to.
flew in that had their kids
in a hotel
like
room.
in a hotel room
But
with
you did
a
them a
nanny.
favor.
It's
What I
not
was going to
fair.
say is you're doing them a favor.
Right.
When you do no kids rule, it's not about the kids. The kids don't want to come to the party. It's annoying for them. They don't have friends. They don't want to be there. They rather
Yeah.
watch TV. The parents, you're doing a favor for them because
Yeah.
when you do that, you force them to get a babysitter and then they have a good time.
Also, it is embarrassing, like when you do bring your kids and they're like
Not behaving.
not behaving or on their phone or being like, ugh. Like
They don't
I'm
wanna
like,
be
oh, it's
there.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just like, don't put your kids in a situation where they're likely
They're
to
gonna fail. I agree.
Like just don't, because then you're screwing up their reputation. Because just like an adult, your first impression is your most important. If somebody remembers that Heather's sons are little shits,
Right.
well, they're 21 and 18, and now they're delights. But they're still not like,
You still remember it.
yeah, they still are kind of like now if I bring them around. But then there was a time where they're like no kids for years because my boys were bad.
Well,
They were boys.
They're
They want-
boys.
they
I'm just
wanna play,
saying.
yeah.
they're not
They're
bad. They just didn't want to be there. Adults bring kids where they don't want to be,
I
and
like
then
that
they get
fashion
upset
show
when they
you did
don't
with
act
your son.
right.
I just
I
want to
know.
mention, I thought that was one of the best things I ever saw you do.
That
was
was
great.
the greatest
That was the mother,
thing.
the
It was
mother
amazing.
son. I saw it.
fashion show. It was the most fun I could ever
I
have.
know. I was really happy for you.
They also said limiting speeches. So I'm going
Yes.
to a wedding in September, and the mother of the bride is my friend, and this will be a fabulous wedding. And I love the bride
groom?
and everything. Love everybody. And she said they don't want all these speeches. Like she doesn't want like any.
Well, any or a few.
I don't.
This is the problem. They're all repetitive. So you need one or two. That's it. Okay. So like if it's going to be the father of the bride,
Remember,
the mother of the, and that's it.
Did you watch Real Housewives of New York when Erin had her like 10-year wedding anniversary?
No, I did not.
And she literally had, I mean, so many speeches, and they all admitted like this wasn't an editing thing. She had so many people giving speeches over a
It's all
couple
the
that
same
stayed
thing.
together for 10 years.
No, it's always the same thing. We love you. You're so amazing. It's always the same thing.
I think I do like a maid of honor. Especially
Stories. I want
if
stories.
she's funny or whatever.
Yes.
But if it's a nerve-wracking thing, I think skip it. Like don't make your friend like
Gary
have
will give a good
anxiety.
one, right?
Yeah,
He'll be
like, some
funny.
people are really great and love it.
Very short. That
and
would be
then
short.
and
Yeah,
but
Heather's gonna have to do
but
it at Allie's.
normally
Heather's gonna have to
speeches
do it.
are. You know what? At my wedding, my dad did not. I think he did it at the. I think the dads did
Rehearsal
something at the
dinner?
rehearsal.
That's fine.
That's where
And
they belong, by the way.
I think we
good.
only had
That's
a
good.
best man and a maid of honor.
The,
That's it.
the wedding is only 240 minutes. Okay, and it depending on how many people you have.
240 minutes. What do you mean?
Well, it's usually a
In
4-hour
the Jewish
wedding.
religion, it's
No, it's a 4-hour wedding.
Limited.
Times 60 is 240 minutes. Maybe it's a 5-hour wedding. It's
Okay.
300 minutes, literally. So people want to dance and they want to have fun. And
Yeah.
every time you make them stop dancing, it's annoying because they want to get. I mean, I think
I personally love the speeches. I love to cry.
how
I
many
love
do you want to
listening.
hear?
I like it. Well, it's done during dinner.
If it's done during a sit down,
dinner,
then it doesn't
during the
matter.
sit down dinner while you're
Nothing's
eating
wrong
your
with that.
steak, while they're bringing the entree, while they're taking away the salad.
Well, on this list it says limited, so I can't argue because I
Okay.
don't know how many. I think it should be limited to time more than number of
if
people.
someone goes too long, you could just start playing music.
yeah,
banning music requests,
Okay,
I don't like that.
I
where you
think
go up
Why?
and say, "Can you play this?"
I don't like
No.
that rule.
I agree.
I don't like that rule. Bad rule.
Alcohol shots.
Banned or in?
No alcohol shots.
Maybe.
I don't
I
agree.
feel like you can order whatever you want.
I don't agree. And not only that, I think there should be a shot ski bar. Because the groomsmen love to take a shot. I mean,
Shots do get you more drunk, though. So
I don't drink,
kinda,
so I
by
can't
saying no
talk.
shots,
All
if
right.
you have a vodka with soda, and it's just going to take you longer to drink it, and you're going to also get that other non-alcohol by doing shots.
so that
So
means
if you
no
have
shots
3
bar.
shots, that's like 3 drinks,
Right.
and no plus ones. Well, I think you can be selective who gets a plus one and who's not. And I think you can be selective where if somebody doesn't have a significant other, but they know everybody at the wedding.
And they're sitting with all couples at the table. Don't make someone come single.
No,
Don't put
I
them
agree.
with. If
That's
you
what
put
I
them with
agree.
all singles because you have a lot of singles. Then that's okay.
Right. If you have a group of single people,
Especially if you
and
have a
they
guy
don't-
for
and they
them.
don't
What
have
if you have a match for
and
them?
they don't have a significant other, okay, fine. But I think that's kind of, I mean, if you could afford where everyone gets a plus one, whether they're a couple or not, I think that's a classier way. Because there might be a girl
Well, no,
that honestly,
I don't know. It depends. No,
Well,
you
I
have to
had
limit
a girl
it.
come to my
you
wedding,
have to limit it.
and her husband was sick or something, and she like brought a friend or her sister, and that didn't bother me at all.
Because it
Why
was
should
one
she have to
person.
suffer? I mean,
but
in
imagine
the
it's
end,
20 people. Do you
I
want
paid for
20
the
strangers?
chicken.
No,
Who
but that's not
cares?
it. Do you want 20 strangers you don't know dancing at your wedding when you only have 120 people?
No, I think
You don't want them in your
I think-
photos. You don't want anything to do with
I think
them.
everyone should have a plus one. It just is so awkward in this day and age.
It depends
to
on the
go to
age.
something completely alone. I just
Yeah.
really
What if
do.
you're 25 and they're all single? All your friends are single. Allison's friends are all single.
No, in that case,
That's
I
what I'm
think
saying, the young
that's what-
people.
That's why I say you do it per person. You kind of go.
Yes.
And I think you even give them the courtesy of calling them and saying, okay, here's the deal. Like, so and so and so and so and so and so. I think you're honest about it. And you're like, I don't want you to think me not inviting you with a plus one makes me think you're going to be like single forever. But
I think if
I think
someone's
you
got a
can really
boyfriend,
hurt
they should
people's
bring
feelings
it.
by not
Yeah,
letting
but you
them
don't want them
bring
asking the
someone.
mailman to come. Like if it's a plus one, then they feel
But if-
obligated to
Oh,
bring
you're
someone.
right. They could feel obligated.
No,
But-
so you really, it has to be, sorry, Gary.
No, it's
When
I have
it's the
something
bride
important
and the
to say.
groom's friends, they should not, unless they are in a serious relationship, they should be alone because there's a lot of other single people.
Well, I also think anybody that has to travel, you give them the option of bringing
Correct,
someone,
because you don't have to come alone.
even if it's their best friend or a
I know,
sister
I
or their
agree.
mom.
I agree.
You say, I'm inviting you with a plus one. If you want to bring a date, great. But if you want to bring somebody else, fine. And if you don't, you're going to know all these people.
That's right.
Like if you're
Make it
really
comfortable.
inviting these people to your wedding, you should be on a phone call basis with them, and you should be able to talk it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If
And
there's
if you're not, then they don't get a plus one because you really didn't want them anyway. It was an obligation invite.
Right.
yeah, if they're single and they can't bring a plus one, you allow them to have shots.
I like it.
All right.
All right, now let's get into everything that you have going on that people can purchase because people love the rugs.
They do love
And
the rugs.
what are the price points?
The rugs start at like $49. I
mean,
but
they're
that's
so
for a small one.
inexpensive.
By the way, I have a program starting in 5 days,
Bless you.
in February 5th, whatever,
Okay.
it doesn't matter. I have a rug program going into Lowe's, all 1,100 stores, and it's a 2x3, kind of like a mat size to put anywhere, entrance to your house or whatever, and they're beautiful. My indoor-outdoor rugs are still pet-proof. And the indoor rugs, I also have wool now. We've stepped it up a little, but I have more expensive rugs, and I have more coming that are in the higher quality, but the prices are incredible. I'm like 25% of a restoration hardware price in some cases because we're just taking out a lot of that markup.
And then you and Allie, Jill and Allie, have so many great items. Of course, the candles are what everybody loves because they
Crystal
come with a
manifesting.
manifesting crystal. So when it burns all the way down, you have a beautiful crystal that you can
do.
keep. I have creativity on my desk. You have so many
Boss
different
Babe,
ones.
I gotta
Boss
get you
babe,
Boss
you
Babe.
you're a boss.
Yeah.
To give
babe.
you Boss Babe. The thing, I think that one of the reasons that I'm where I am right now in my career is because of my manifesting the last 2 years.
Yes.
Because as I'm designing and developing these candles, I'm manifesting, right? So I'm looking at this color and I'm like, okay, here's the stone. What stone are we going to do? This is what this is good for. This is what this is good for. And at the same time, I'm manifesting it. And I think that I know it works. If people, you can call it manifestation. You can just say writing things down, and making your intention, manifesting intention really helps people focus and figure out a path to get what they want. And that's why the manifestation candles have done well. I also just launched a tabletop line, which I have to show you pictures of. It looks like the Beverly Hills Hotel and the Colony Hotel's pink and white stripes with palm leaves, like Palm Beach kind of
love
thing.
it.
Palm Springs. Sorry, Palm Springs. You're going to love. And that just launched, and that's going to be.
Okay, I want those for my La Quinta house.
You want this for your La Quinta house.
You'll
Wait
love
till you
it.
see this.
It's
You're going to die. And that's on
Of course,
Gottinger.com.
We have the pickleball
You gotta see-
rackets
look
that
at
I
my
used the
furniture.
other day.
Look at this
Thank you.
furniture.
Yeah, we
Break
saw
down
that.
furniture.
Oh my God, you have. Oh my God, I love this blue.
I know. I have all this furniture now. That's going to be up on my website in a couple of months. But let me
Okay.
show you the tabletop. You're going to flip. So, business is great. I'm developing more and more products. You can find me in pretty much, like we're in TJ Maxx and Home Goods, and we're in Sam's Club. I have an incredible program of candles and mirrors at Sam's Club. I have a 36-inch round mirror in black or brass for $49.
Amazing.
I saw it at the show. I was just in Vegas. Wholesale, $93, same mirror. You can't believe it. So it's very exciting times. No, it
Jill's
is.
also
I'm
going
a
into
value-based brand.
hydration in a big way.
Yes, drinking. But the different kinds of drinking,
No,
right,
more
Gary?
just like being thirsty.
Oh my God.
Never thirsty with her.
Gary's so
It's
funny.
the biggest cup you've ever
You know, that is
seen.
the one thing I always hated when somebody would call me that. I don't know why it triggered like a visceral reaction with
64
me.
ounces, you're never thirsty. Oh,
Thank
and
you,
by the way,
Gary.
she has her own Diet Coke machine now. 580 cans of Diet Coke at the house at all times.
Gary, you're so crazy. Well, this is
Really?
kind of
In like a vending machine?
She has a vending
this
machine.
isn't
Do
a
you
great
really
picture.
have a vending machine?
I do.
Absolutely.
I do in my backyard. Gary's crazy. He did it. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Look at this. The flamingos. And
Oh
it's
my
out now. So you can go to
It's fun. It's a
Gottinger.com,
lot of
type
fun.
in Jill Zarin. You will see the most fun, playful designs of pink and white.
This is
like it, right?
amazing.
Drop Dead?
This is Drop Dead.
Thank you.
Pink and green. Oh,
And
and,
with
then
flamingos.
you have a Montauk line, which is, oh my God.
Yeah, blue and white.
This is the cutest shit ever.
Thank you.
Jill.
That means a lot to
Get
me.
ready to get your life. Your life's going to change.
I think, well,
Since
I'm
being on Juicy
manifesting it.
Scoop.
So if you want to manifest, get a manifestation candle at jillandally.com. By the way, Juicy Scoopers, 15% off. I always bring a gift for you. So it's Juicy Scoop 15.
Sure.
Okay, Juicy Scoop 15.
Yeah.
Have a party.
Love you.
Love
Bye,
you.
Gary. I love you
Thank
too.
you. Thank you, Heather.